My friends, what we are about to witness now is not a diplomatic negotiation. What you are about to see is the exact moment when the backbone of two of the world's greatest state terrorism empires is broken in half. The United States Central Command, CENTCOM, has just released footage of the largest and most devastating explosions recorded in this entire conflict. And they didn't happen at some forgotten outpost in the desert. They tore through the sky of the capital itself, Tehran. And what you're seeing now is the end of the line for the leadership of the Revolutionary Guard. The B-1B Lancer doesn't ask for permission, it simply wipes the map clean. To understand the level of technical lethality of what happened on the night of July 15th, 2026, we need to analyze the anatomy of the attack. The main target wasn't secondary radars or armored boats. The target was the heart, the neurological center of the regime, the underground command centers. That's where the Iranian generals coordinate the chaos in the Middle East. It's the room where the order to fire missiles at merchant ships is given. And it's where the Revolutionary Guard decides the next move on their bloody chessboard. But how do you destroy the country's black box without losing a single aircraft? Subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and leave your like on the video because it takes a lot of work to make. Do you understand? Summon the B-1B Lancer. Yes, my friends, the B-1B Lancer is a heavy supersonic bomber that looks like it was sculpted from titanium nightmares. It doesn't need to cross the Iranian border to destroy the country. The lethal mechanics of this giant lie in its payload, the JASSM-ER missile, with each B-1B able to carry up to 24 of these stealth missiles. The range of 900 kilometers means that the bomber can take off, reach the ideal altitude, and fire its entire arsenal while still flying over safe international waters. The missile drops from the bomb bay, activates its own jet engine, and begins autonomous navigation at low altitude, hugging the terrain to avoid detection. The radar signature of the JASSM is virtually invisible. On the ground in Tehran, the darkness is absolute. Iranian radars are searching for massive bombers up high, but the attack comes in low and silent. When the impact happens, it's seismic. And the intelligence facilities of Iran's aerospace force are reduced to a smoking crater before the emergency operations room phone even has time to ring. It's the power of American aerial impunity drawn in the soot of the enemy capital. However, war is not fought on a single front. While Tehran trembled under the shockwave of cruise missiles, a second, even more humiliating operation was sealing the regime's economic fate: the naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. The Iranian islands of Kashmir and Tum, located in hyper-strategic positions, were flaunted by the Ayatollahs as their unsinkable aircraft carriers. Coastal missile batteries, deep-scanning radars, and fleets of fast attack boats, the Mosquito Fleet, were stationed there to terrorize any Western merchant ship. But when CENTCOM decided to test this base of invulnerability, the result was brutal. The night turned into a macabre fireworks show. The coastal radars, which used to be Iran's peripheral vision over the world's main oil artery, were ripped from their foundations. Communication facilities exploded in a shower of concrete and fried circuits. But the message of brute force was delivered when the Belma tanker, flying the flag of Curaçao, tried to challenge the American blockade and break through the cordon, heading toward the Karg Island terminal, from where Iran exports the overwhelming majority of its oil wealth, 90%. The Belma had already transported 38 million barrels for the regime on previous trips. But on July 60, note this date, it was intercepted by a force. US Central Command did not ask the ship to stop. No, they fired the Hellfire missile right into its central structure in broad daylight. The accuracy of the Hellfire is frightening. It wasn't designed to pulverize the entire ship, but rather to disable it, melting the engines or disabling the propulsion with surgical lethality. If Iran tries to close the Strait of Hormuz with threats, the United States will cut off every drop of Iranian oil from leaving with laser-guided missiles. The message was written in spilled oil, and if their exports stop, their economy bleeds until its last heartbeat. And here, in how this total siege comes together, we witness what strategists and military experts call platform synergy. It's the supersonic dance of modern destruction. The aerial scene over the Gulf was rewritten by the coalition's superiority of three colossal machines: the F-35, the F-18 Super Hornet, and the B-1B. Think of the F-35 fighter as the invisible conductor of the orchestra from hell. The great advantage of this machine is not just its speed, but its electronic brain, more specifically the AN/APG-81 radar, its distributed aperture system. The F-35 hovers invisible in brutally contested airspace, absorbing and processing a tsunami of data. It maps the skies, decodes enemy radar frequencies, and tracks the remaining Iranian anti-aircraft missiles, sharing all this information in real time and without generating an electromagnetic signature for the other fighter jets escorting it. The sovereignty of Iranian airspace was so disregarded that a recently captured photo illustrates the humiliation of the regime. F-35 was caught refueling in the air, operating not in full stealth mode but carrying external tanks and even AIM-9X missiles mounted on the wingtips. The Americans don't even need full stealth to dominate the skies over Tehran. They're saying, "We know you're trying to find us. We made it easier for you. And still you can't hit us." Alongside the F-35s were the war beasts, the F-15E Strike Eagle fighters, which don't know the meaning of the word mercy, carrying tons of raw explosives. And then the F-16CJs, 16 CJ Wild Wizards, operating in air defense suppression missions. These F-16 pilots act as lethal bait, and if you follow me here, you already know they wait for the surface-to-air missile radar to lock on. And in the next second, they launch anti-radiation missiles that go straight for the enemy antenna, permanently blinding the system. And to complete this orchestra of annihilation, you need to understand the escape mechanics. The B-1B Lancer is not a slow, heavy bomber. Inside the guts of this monster pulse 4 General Electric F-101 turbofan engines. Its combat doctrine is the very essence of hit and run. At the exact millisecond, the cruise missiles are ejected from the bomb bay. The pilot changes the wing geometry, slams the throttle into afterburner, and breaks the sound barrier. He escapes the theater of operations, tearing through the atmosphere at supersonic speed. Before the first missile even hits the ground, the bomber is already miles away, safe. Trying to shoot down the B-1B Lancer after it has launched its attack is like trying to shoot lightning after your house has already been destroyed by thunder. It's pure tactical humiliation. And while Iran's military strength evaporates in flames of kerosene, the rhetoric of its spokespersons has become a pathetic mix of arrogance and fiction. The spokesperson for the Iranian army, Amir Akamari, recently stated that a significant part of Iran's capabilities has not yet been used. He hinted that the regime was still holding back vast stockpiles of ballistic missiles. But let's break this bluff with military logic. They say they have ballistic missiles hidden in caves and valleys, ready to annihilate coalition bases, but how exactly? How are they going to coordinate these simultaneous launches if CENTCOM just deleted the general's group chat? The command node has been broken. The underground communication infrastructure in Tehran has turned to rubble. Launching missiles now is like pulling triggers blindfolded in the dark against an enemy who sees everything, every millisecond through infrared. Iran has staked its survival on what I call the armored coffin tactic. They buried all the Iranian people's money, building underground complexes thinking that concrete and the mountain would protect them from bombings, but they forgot a lethal detail of military physics. When you lock yourself under meters of rock and the American Air Force drops a bunker-busting bomb on your roof, you don't build a safe bunker. You just made the gravedigger's job easier and built your own armored coffin. There's nowhere to run when the ceiling collapses. And if you thought the B-1 was the end, what's coming next is extinction level. President Donald Trump has already marked the deadly target and didn't hesitate to reveal what's coming next by mentioning Mount Pickaxe. This geographic location is not random. It is suspected to be a deep stronghold of Iran's nuclear and ballistic infrastructure. It is surrounded by impenetrable rock. The B-2 was forged to carry its ultimate ammunition against the bowels of the earth. The gigantic GBU-57 bomb, yes, my friends, the MOP. A bunker buster, and this monster weighs over 13 tons. When diplomacy exhausts Washington's patience, enemy bases feel the false security of dense rock tunnels. And the GBU-57 tears through the ground to deliver final judgment, causing seismic tremors of annihilation at the roots of Iranian military foundations. The B-2 can take off from the United States, cross continents, drop these monstrosities on Iranian soil, and return safely like a ghost bearing divine wrath. Faced with the collapse of its bases, the annihilation of command centers, and the blinding of its technological infrastructure, the regime's political paralysis reaches a state of absolute shock. They desperately try to use television and state propaganda to hide their own collapse. And that's exactly how the establishment operates all over the world. They try to dictate the narrative and silence those who have the courage to reveal what really happens behind the scenes of power. But we break through that blockade. Yes, that's why I want your attention now. We are competing for the Best Award in the political influencer category, and I want to show the system the absolute strength that our elite analyst community has. I'm asking for your vote now. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment. It takes no more than 30 seconds to cast your vote, which will be a direct message that our voice cannot be silenced by pre-made narratives. I'm counting on you now. You've already brought me this far. We went from 44th place and now we're in 5th place and 1st place in the last 24 hours. We're very close to definitely qualifying for the next phase of the top 20 definitive, so I'm counting on you. Because Iran's military reaction is starting to crack the pillars of the visible economy in Iraq, the crucial port terminals responsible for shipping the oil wealth from Basra, the heart of the nation's energy sector and the lifeblood of Iraqi exports. With the frightening mark of 3.3 million barrels per day, they suffered widespread panic shutdowns after mysterious drone attacks and waves of aerial retaliation. The oil market wavers in fear, waiting for the strong and ruthless fist to settle things once and for all, as signaled by Washington. If the blockade of Iran is designed to suffocate and break the regime, temporary regional destabilization is the brutal price of putting the monster down for good. This is the real checkmate in the global chess game. Trump recently raised the tone, assertively comparing the danger that the Revolutionary Guard spreads and establishes throughout the Iranian nation as being identical, if not even more structured, lethal, and well-organized to those of terrorist organizations like the Islamic State. Because from a purely strategic point of view, equating the Revolutionary Guard with the Islamic State removes any veil of diplomacy and legally legitimizes an all-out hunt. Because Tehran's logistical desperation in releasing hostages as mere desperate and empty gestures, including the sudden release. To Americans, this pathetic attempt to curry favor is ridiculous in the face of the flames. The regime falsely calls for negotiations through the parallel channel of Oman. It releases prisoners seeking breathing room in the court of international opinion, but orders blind attacks on the military base on the very day it made the false humanitarian gesture of a truce. The state is no longer coordinated. The chains of command have broken. And to demonstrate the analytical agility of our community regarding the enemy's movements and the false security of their underground fortresses, today's keyword will be our verdict on their fate. Go to the comments now and type, "Oh armored coffin." Yes, my friends, make it clear that we already understand that trying to hide underground was the regime's biggest tactical mistake. The situation in the Middle East is moving toward a final rupture. The brain of the Revolutionary Guard was imploded and reduced to dust by the guided JASSM-ER missiles. The suffocating military blockade prevents the oil machine from pumping its lifeblood for logistical resupply around the world. And fleets of American supersonic warplanes have no intention of leaving the skies over the Persian Gulf or letting up on their destructive patrols. The brain of the Revolutionary Guard was shattered because they lost control of their airspace and their narrative. Now apply that to your own reality. In corporate chess, the market acts with the same coldness as geopolitics. It mercilessly punishes those who do not master their own communication. And today, the most valuable currency on the planet is not oil, it's attention. For you, entrepreneur or high-level professional, the greatest pain is being the best at what you do and still remaining invisible. You have a spectacular business, but you feel like the algorithm only rewards trivial things and dancing, while those with serious content simply disappear. And that's the biggest lie ever invented, and I just proved exactly the opposite. 15 years ago, when I started in radio and TV, I understood that building real authority requires a war strategy. Anyone who wants to be recognized today needs to accept an irreversible fact. Every business has become an MIT business. Look at Simide and at Havan stores. One is a pharmaceutical company, the other is a department store. Both have become content machines to triple sales and break through the bubble. The old man from heaven shows his face online every day. But notice one thing, he's not offering towels. He's not offering a set of glasses that just arrived at the store. No, he is directly connected with you, and your corporate identity cannot be outsourced. The owner needs to show his face and guide the company's vision. But the time is over when you could just record with your phone any way you wanted and think you would dominate the market in your sector, and that would solve everything. Today, the digital world demands lethal professionalism. If you want to gain unquestionable authority, attract elite clients, and build a strong business, even one monetized in dollars, by applying the exact method that guarantees me more than 50 million views every month here on social media. You need to take control and break through the bubble that's keeping you out of this world. That's why on August 16th, I'll be doing a fully in-person closed-door immersion with me here in my studio. It's hands-on. I will personally guide and direct you in building your authority with maximum impact. But I'm strict with the numbers. There are only 10 seats. When the 10th spot is taken, the steel door closes and that's it. So the QR code is on your screen, the secure link is in the description and in the first pinned comment. Secure your spot immediately, step out of invisibility, shield your communication, and finally break through the bubble that's holding you back. And for those who are tired of wasting time trying to find a good movie or series to watch on the weekend, like me who has spent hours browsing the catalog and in the end picked a title that turned out to be terrible. Because everything was full of woke culture and whining, we created our channel with tips on series and movies with spot-on curation. Just click and enjoy with your family. Link in the description, in the pinned comment, and in the card that will appear on your screen. Now shield your mind. Yes, my friends, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and like the video because it takes a lot of work to make. So, do you think Trump will win or lose this war? On a scale from 0 to 10, leave your answer in the comments. I'm Chimo Oliveira and I'll see you in the next video. See you then.